There's a saying that's stuck in my head and it won't ever leave my head ever again. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Gold.
Right? So
Gold.
in saying that line,
Gold.
Right, how did you ensure your friends were the right people?
I had to make so many sacrifices, and one of them was like spending nights out with my mates, going to their house, just hanging out. I knew they were my mates because I knew they supported me and they understood when I wasn't around. That's how I knew.
Come on, give me the intro, man. Start. Forget about your intro. Just fuck the intros, fuck everything.
Surviving the digital jungle is tough. We're here to guide you through it on the Digital Jungle Podcast.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Today we have some very special guests in the building today. We have half the men behind the brand Renosell. So Renosell is such a new business making so much noise in the market, but they sit in such a unique space. They don't belong to a specific industry. What Renosell, it's in between the real estate market and the construction market. So I've got special guests. Thank you very much for coming through. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to come in. We've got Huss and we've got Josh. Only half the crew here today, but really appreciate it. So Renosell. What I wanted to do is I wanted to give the audience a bit of an understanding of Renosell, but more importantly, I wanted to give a lot of the guys an insight behind you guys and who you guys are, and really go pretty deep into your whole sort of career, your progression, and what led you to this point right now. So Huss, if you can give us a bit of a rundown on what Renosell is, what you guys actually do.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having us. It's exciting to be here. As you mentioned, only half of us are here. The other half
on the job site.
They're on the trenches. They're on the trenches. No, the other two boys are the construction delivery arm, so they're doing the work. We are quite busy, as you mentioned. But look, what Renosell does is we were established to allow property owners the ability to maximize their sale price without paying for it up front. So essentially, like you mentioned, we're in construction and the real estate, but we're also in the consulting sort of space as well. So our business has only been sort of operating since February this year, 2021. But we were sort of established in July 2020, where the four of us, Josh, myself, Nathan and Luke, really close friends, got together and said, and we identified that there was a need or a gap in the marketplace for properties going to market not in the best state and losing lots of money by not preparing it. And the common sort of reasons that people would say was they don't have the time or they don't have the money to coordinate trades, both from a client point of view, but also an agent point of view. So we saw there was a gap in the marketplace there. Myself, I'm a licensed real estate agent. I've been in and out of the sales aspect since probably 2013, doing my own things, working in construction, property development, project management, so all that type of space. So in my time, when I'd see clients, I'd ask them or I'd tell them that you need to spend a bit of money for us to achieve the top end of what it's worth. But I was always faced with that, I don't have the money or I don't have the time. And at the time, there was no other alternative. So we take the property to market and whatever it got. But now that we exist, I guess our sort of where we exist is we say, let us invest a bit of money into the property and then that way when you sell, you're going to be accessing probably a market that you didn't know existed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they don't have to pay for it up front. So instead of them saying, I don't have the money, the beauty of that is it's a renovate now, pay later. So we do all the work. We do everything. Your house is looking spick and span. You don't have no financial stress or anything like that because you don't pay for it until you settle.
Well, that's in my opinion. Look, I'll rewind a little bit. So I remember, I believe it was late last year, and I remember Huss, when you came into our office, and you boys had already been planning. You had the concept ready. You had the content, how the whole process works, and I remember you were basically ready to go to market, but you hadn't sort of grabbed any traction. But I remember you guys explaining what this concept is, and I was just blown away. But it was in such a weird way, and I'll tell you why. Because it was like one of those things where like, fuck, of course.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God.
That's why I get a bit
it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a no-brainer. But like, you know what, like just to keep the audience sort of understanding, like it sounds so sort of simple, right? Like I'm about to sell, right? You need a nice facelift or a bit of a small renovation, right? Time, money, and experience in knowing how to coordinate trades.
Yeah.
Those are three massive pain points.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose money. You guys can come in and sort it all out. But what I wanted to know is, I know that there was a casino story. Yeah, Josh. So you guys were sitting in the casino last year, and you were having a good time, and definitely tipsy, at least tipsy. I'm not going to say more than that, but
Maybe that's
it was very early in the morning. Put it that way.
3 out of the 4.
Okay. So you were sitting down. What I want to know is you sitting down, you found the gap, right?
Yep.
Obviously you found the gap. You guys got excited about it. But what I wanted to know is sort of for you, Josh, what was it? Because obviously, you know, a lot of people are going to recognize you, Josh. You're a professional athlete. You know, you're in your own space. You're a high performer in a sort of, let's say it's a vertical that requires 100% dedication.
Yeah.
But this came up and you were like, wow, what was it that said to you, like, I'm in?
Well, as a young kid, like my first couple of years in NRL, like I didn't really have like a full perspective of life itself. Like all I thought was about rugby league. And then as I get older, I kind of start, you know, have the juggling act of like family, knowing what I want to do after footy and obviously my career. So me and the boys just sitting down, you know, having a good time eating Chinese, you know, got grease all over my shirt and, you know, a bit tipsy, as you said, and Huss babysitting us. We just decided, we're just brainstorming and just come up with the idea. And I think on the back of that, like we, you know, went our separate ways, went home, and the next day it kept on talking about it. Weeks went into months, and that's when this is something that we really want to do and execute. And Renosell it could be many things. We didn't know exactly what the identity of Renosell was, but then we kind of narrowed it down, our key focus, and it's really kicked off. Like you said, it's been really exciting for me, particularly, like me just knowing and having a schedule pretty much most of my life playing rugby league. This is so exciting for me because it's just uncharted territory, and we really enjoyed it with the boys and couldn't have asked for a better bunch of blokes to do it with, you know, but with my close mates.
Oh, there's no better feeling than sort of working with friends. But I think the most exciting part, if I was to, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel as though, you know, you really hit a winner. Like I feel like, so there's a real gap.
Yeah.
There's a historical or, you know, an industry that's been there for so long, being the real estate industry.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the construction industry that's been there for so long.
Yeah.
They sort of never really sort of blended together really well, right?
Yeah.
So, but I feel like then you've got, you know, just before sales, the property market booming. You know, real estate in Australia is phenomenal.
It's just
bricks
crazy.
and mortar investment.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can't go wrong, right?
And the numbers don't lie. Like I said, when we did the research, so like Josh mentioned, we went out for dinner. It was sort of like we've all drawn from our own experiences. Josh being a carpenter, Josh liking building and construction, me in real estate. The boys heavily grew up. Their father's in construction, Nathan and Luke. So that's ingrained in their blood. So they grew
very
up.
good point, Huss. Very good point.
That's what we sat at dinner, and we've obviously we knew that there was a gap. So when, you know, I called over the waitress, I said, "Oh, can I have a pen and a napkin?" And I wish I still had the napkin today. I don't know where it is. Probably in the bin somewhere.
Should have framed it.
Mate,
should have framed
I'll
it.
tell you what, that should have gone into a glory box or something like that.
I don't even know where it is. But on that napkin was just like, we're just writing down, like you said, construction, real estate, property selling. We all know, we've all seen those shows, Love It and List It. So you know when a property is prepared to a high, like the stats don't lie, 7.5% to 12.5% more if it's prepared to a higher standard, right? So look anyway, that's the numbers.
See, okay. So for those that are listening, let me put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Like 7.5% to 12.5% increase.
Yeah.
When you're talking about a property that's worth $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about 75 grand to 125 grand.
And we're not talking about investing a lot either. So out of that percentage, we're talking about 2% maybe, 3%. So we're talking about if you invest out of that, say 25 grand, say 30,000, we're talking about a proper facelift, beautiful, quick turnaround too. That's what we pride ourselves on, without compromising the quality. you could be looking at an extra 100, 110 grand.
And that's sort of the sort of, you know, if you don't have everything, like, you know, if you have some luck behind you as a vendor, right? As a vendor, you have the property market booming, you've got the interest rates at a record low.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you probably can maximize it even further. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And I think the icing on the cake for you guys, which is phenomenal, how you teed up, how to ensure the vendor doesn't have to pay until.
Well, it's funny, like, sorry, John. It's funny that I think Josh mentioned or touched on earlier that we pivoted a bit early because we didn't really know what our identity was. And early in the time, we thought, you know what, we're going to target the agents, because from an agent's point of view, it's so difficult to show a house when it's old, it's dirty, it's
property style.
The property, like, it's hard to show a property because a buyer will come in and say, you know, it needs paint. I'll give you 10 grand. Like, they'll always negotiate.
Yeah,
but from an agent's point of view, if they're showing a property that looks good, there's not much for the buyer to pick on. It's been newly freshened up. So from the agent's point of view, they can sell a much better product. And what do you get for a much better product? A much better price. And so that was our initial target market, the agents. But
and a high commission.
And what?
And a high commission.
Yeah, well, and they sell it for a higher commission, right? And so, but early on when I pitched it, or, you know, to the agents, which were all friends and family at that time, but they were on board. But then as we went out broader, there was a select few agents that just wanted, you know, it's not going to work. We just want to put the house on the market. Fair enough. You're not our target market. We move on.
Yeah.
But then we started to adapt because we were getting a lot of inquiries from the consumer. The client was saying, I want to sell. Help me get more money for it. And so that became our target market because they're the ones that were paying on settlement. So it, so it's funny how it pivoted over that time. But
I feel as though it was, you know, in the initial stages. I remember you guys mentioning the real estate market was definitely going to be your sort of main sort of pool of where you'd get your work
as a
from.
referral lead.
And the initial knockbacks that you guys had was a little bit disheartening, and it didn't really make sense. But I guess what blows me away is February 2021, and right now we're in the end of October. So it's 7 months, right, that you guys have properly been operating. The buzz that Renosell is getting, the work that you guys are getting, the absolutely phenomenal results you're getting for your clients. Even the press releases, you know, journalists that want a story are coming to you guys to get the story for what you guys are doing. Like it blows me away with how you guys have been like that. So you knew you were onto a winner. You dabbled into the real estate market, got a little bit of knockback. That might have been a little bit disheartening.
I wish I showed you, sorry to interrupt, I wish I showed you the emails early, probably January, February, that I sent out. I think I sent, I don't know, 110 maybe to agents on my network. Guys, really excited. This is my business. Maybe heard back from maybe 2 or 3 saying, that's good. Nothing, man. But now, and I think I shared this with the boys, that I said to them, let's be a bit patient. Let's get out there because I think the tables will turn and we'll start getting phone calls. But
it just exploded.
That's it.
And let me like, you know what's awesome, because you know, our audience, there's a lot of avid listeners that are in business or thinking about business, and there's so many things like, you know, when you've got a concept, right, putting a concept in and making it a reality is fucking hard.
100%.
Everyone's got ideas, man. Everyone's got ideas.
You know, I'll give, like, not in a rude way, but the chat at the casino is like the funnest part you can possibly. You know, it's a whole lot of talking shit, having fun. But then how you guys coordinate it. Obviously, you have the right people in the team, so that's great. You made it into reality. And then in the toughest period that Australia or the world has faced. Well, in my lifetime. I don't know. In your, I'm sure. We're around the same age anyway. So
same.
In our lifetime, for you guys to be doing so well, you know, it just validates that you guys hit the right. You found the need in the market, the gap. Even though, like right now, people are thinking, oh yeah, dude.
That's why I feel a bit weird talking about it, because it's
you put it together. But I also believe that it works because, you know, you have, you know, 4 of you guys involved, but you all hold different sort of
Strengths
pillars.
and
Oh,
of,
yeah.
you know, let's call
100%.
it a home.
Yeah.
You each sort of have a different
Totally
foundation. Yeah. That's exactly
Or call
right.
it a table with 4 solid legs. Like
There you
one
go.
of us, you know, is out.
which is phenomenal, and I think that's why it sort of works, and that's why you were able to get busy and get it done, and maintain this success. Like, hats off to you guys. It really, you know, for those that haven't checked you out, check them out. Renosell.com.au. You get sort of a bit of an understanding, or follow them on social media. But what I like really, you know, in terms of you guys, right? Like, so, you know, we all come from sort of similar sort of upbringings, right? So, you know, I grew up in the southwest of Sydney. You know, family not very wealthy, fairly sort of on the you know, less, you know,
hustlers.
Hustlers.
Yeah,
let's
work,
call it hustlers. And I feel like, you know, we all come from that type of background. But you know, if you want to kick us off, you know, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Right. This is what I'm trying to achieve with understanding you guys, right? I wanted to understand, like, you know, you go to school, you grow up. What did you think the real world was going to be? Like, what did you think you were going to be?
How
you know what I mean?
Look, it depends on how far you want to go back, but I grew up I was born in Campbelltown Hospital. But I didn't spend too long out that way. My parents moved us to Chester Hill, and then over to Menai sort of area. So I went to schooling in Menai, where Nathan and I and Luke met. So like, we've been mates
from school.
Yeah, since we were 12. So that's 20 years we've been close.
Wow.
We bonded over football. Like, so when you're talking about school, what I wanted to do was I just wanted to play rugby. Obviously, this guy made it, but all of us, if Nathan and Luke were here, they say the same thing. We all just wanted to play rugby league.
Wow.
We just wanted to play first grade rugby league. We made some of the rep squads, but like, I wasn't obviously committed enough. I didn't make it, have the talent, but that's what I wanted to do. But in saying that, early on from 14, I started working at 14 because my parents just instilled the hard work.
What did you do?
I was at school, but when I was 14, I worked at Sports Scene. I don't know if you remember Sports Scene.
Straight away on the grind.
Yeah,
straight away.
And it's funny, my mum will sort of tell you, but I sort of said, help me make a resume. I want to go up to Sports Scene and just give them my resume. And I got a job there on weekends because I love sport, right? So I thought if I worked, I'll get cheaper boots. I got cheaper boots. But I loved it. I love talking to people. I love helping them solve their problems. What else? And then, so I pretty much did a lot of that work.
So you're out of high school now. Yeah. You're like, shit's getting serious now.
Yeah.
Like, well, your parents are saying,
well, it's my parents.
Serious.
Yeah.
And what did you think you were going to do after that?
So like I said, I loved rugby league. That was my first goal, but my second goal was to work in real estate.
Straight away?
Yeah, because my father worked in real estate at a really crucial, now that I look back, he worked in real estate for a 10-year period, but it was the crucial time because I was just in year 10. So I was at that time where I want to do what my dad does, you know, like I want to do that. So it was either rugby league or real estate. And didn't make rugby league, but I didn't also work in real estate. I studied and did it, but I got married really young, so I had to find a job that paid a decent wage, and then that way I had a mortgage to pay. So that all happened a lot quicker. And so and then went through various different jobs as in construction, project management, real estate, did it all until we're here sort of 20 years later where I finally have, bundled it all together and
I'll tell you what,
Renosell, so
you've used all of it to get to this point.
Like, I think so as well,
there's all of the dimensions.
I think if my teachers were here from high school, actually even the boys we were just wanted to play rugby league. So we didn't get the best grades. We didn't get into uni or anything like that, or TAFE or anything. We didn't do it. But I did a lot of my studies from 23 to now at 33. I'm just finishing at uni finally. I'm just finishing a degree now. But so from 23 to 33, I did a lot of study. I did my real estate license, my project management qualifications, construction, carpentry.
Why?
Because I had an interest in these things. So I thought getting a formal qualification is one thing and getting some real world experience is the other. So while I was working on some sites, whether it's construction, labouring, carpentry, I studied building and construction, diplomas, carpentry license. I got it all. Same thing as real estate. I wanted to have the formal, but also the real world. So worked in real estate, worked on the ground, but also got those license, got those qualifications. And then now I'm finishing my MBA doing a business degree. So all over the 10 years, hopefully that can bundle into Renosell.
Well done, mate. That's awesome, man.
That's me in a nutshell, yeah.
And Josh, tell me, where did you grow up?
He succeeded. He played first grade, man. He's playing first grade.
I tell you what, I'm
what's
sure.
the difference to him, to be honest? But I grew up in Lakemba as a little kid, and then I moved to Elwood. Done all my school in Lakemba, went to St. Therese Primary, and then went to the feeder high school, Holy Spirit College in Lakemba. Pretty much similar to Haas. So I was fully committed to playing rugby league at a very young age.
But in your mind at that time,
Yeah,
it was like, I'm making it.
I'm making it without a doubt. I didn't.
There was no like plan B, plan worst case scenario.
No, nothing. So the teachers went through that with me. Like, what are you going to do if this fails? You know, they gave me the stats on making rugby league, the probability of it, and all. And I don't know. It was
and
like
you're a young kid.
A young kid.
A young kid from Southwest Sydney.
How old were you?
Tunnel. It was like. I dropped out probably when I was 16, and after dropping out, I went straight into the construction industry. I had my footy coach actually owned his own business, so he took me on board. I started my apprenticeship with him, doing my carpentry, and the first year was pretty tough. As all first years are, just doing mostly labor-intensive work.
You know, that's what spun me out about you, like the fact that you also had the construction background. Like, you know, why? What? Okay, so. Your eyes set on the prize. I'm making it to the league, right? And then why carpentry? Because of your coach?
No, not really. I think it just, as I was looking at all the trades, I felt like carpentry.
But why trades?
That's a very good question. I don't know. I feel like my narrow focus was rugby league.
Yeah.
But I needed that backup option, and I thought, you know what? I love being outdoors. Love getting my hands dirty. Love construction, love building. I love being part of it. And
wow.
I think carpentry as well, you're involved in a team environment. You know, there's banter, you know, it's I don't know. I really enjoyed it. The first year, not too much because there's a lot of labor, like I said. And then after that, it was pretty hard kind of juggling. I drove my bosses mad, you know.
You drive us mad.
I drive them mad 100% with my schedule chopping and changing. And but they were all awesome. Like they really were patient with me, which I'm very appreciative for. And yeah, I was very grateful that it all worked out. You know, like
I'm sure you faced some times where in the roller coaster, you know, like, because this is what I want to sort of dive into a little bit more. It's the adversity part, right? It's that's what I was trying to touch on in terms of real estate agents not getting a good reception from them. Like, like, you know, that can deflate a bubble, right? And I'm 100%. Sure in your career, Josh, you know, there would have been times where you would have thought, holy shit, I might not make it.
100%.
Yeah.
Especially as a young kid. I've been a Canterbury junior. I got knocked back from Canterbury. Played a year at Kingsgrove where the boys played. Yeah. Got knocked back from St. George. And by chance, I looked at, there was open tryouts for North Sydney Bears, who were the feeder club for South Sydney at the time. I went down, I went with my mum actually, and when I rocked up, there was like all bunch of boys, like, you know, with their mates, and I was very nervous, very shy. Played the trial, and I was the first name picked.
Wow.
I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I went to training. Trained with men at the time. I was 18, and then I got the opportunity to play under 20s for South Sydney. Took that with both hands, and I was still juggling carpentry, TAFE, playing junior professional footy, and from
let me ask you.
Yeah.
You get knocked back from Canterbury, which is your hometown, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to which club? It was St. George.
Kingsgrove, yeah.
You get knocked back.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what in your head said, I'll just keep on going? Like there's someone out there that's gonna want my talent.
It was, you know what? It's
like, you know, like now in reflection, like was it like, not in a rude way, was there a little bit of ignorance? Because sometimes ignorance is great.
100%. Yeah.
Or was it, you know, did you push harder at after every knockback?
There was definitely a lot of sacrifice. I sacrificed a lot of times hanging out with my mates, having late nights. Like I'm talking about, I'm waking up at 5 a.m., go to work at 7 on the job site. I'll finish at 3:30. I'm at training at 4:30, and I'm at home at 8 o'clock at night. So I didn't really have time to hang out with my mates at night, especially my girlfriend, who's now my wife. So there was definitely a lot of sacrifice. I think the biggest thing for me was just something I was so passionate about. And I truly believe that if you're really, really passionate about something, it's going to work out more of the time. So,
you know, but it's going to be backed up with dedication.
Without a doubt.
You know, you can have the passion, but man, like athletes in general, like, you know, I follow the NBA a lot, and like I'm glued to the athlete's life.
Who's your favorite player?
Yeah, LeBron James.
You love LeBron, huh? Anyway.
Love LeBron. But yeah, so like in terms of the athlete's life, like what it inspires me in business.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the level of dedication is unbelievable. But it's like, so you're as an athlete, right? You know, your window is sort of limited as an athlete, right?
Yep.
But it's you, it's your body, it's your mind, it's your like your mental stability. It's like it's you, right? In business, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
I'll give you an example. Like I was super overweight in business, but it didn't matter because I could still do my thing.
work,
But really, my weight did affect business.
Yeah.
And I realized
That's
that,
true.
and I got that from watching sports and watching athletes.
The mentality that comes from the exercise
man.
and, well, even if you look at the sport, but even if you look at business owners and top CEOs or whoever it is, they're pretty rigid with their structure and their routine because it's exercise somewhere in there, whether it's morning, because it clears their mind. Discipline. Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, and that's why, like, you know, from your, you know, you being dedicated, that's one part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then implementing that discipline in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To reach the heights that you reached. Like you said, the percentages are really low. Like, you know, NRL, you know, rugby league.
Up like 250 games. How many games you got?
Just under 200 now.
Yeah, like that's a lot of first grade games. So if you look at the stats of players who've played one compared to 200.
See, that's the thing as well. Like all of my focus was before I made my NRL debut was making my NRL debut. I just wanted to play in the NRL.
Yeah.
Then you play the NRL and then what then? So then you got to start writing more goals down. Oh, okay, I want to play for Australia. I want to play for New South Wales. I want to clock up 50 games for my club. I want to clock up 100 games. And then, you just keep on, I don't know. I was always a big a box ticker, I think. Like I always had to write goals. I always had to keep motivated. And I think the biggest thing I've learned is never get comfortable where you're at. You could be at the peak of your game. Don't get comfortable. Don't start slacking off. Try keep bettering your game every single year.
Speaking of that, I'm sure you've been using a basketball analogy, but Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, he talks about the Kobe system. Google it, YouTube it if you're listening. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's talking about when you get to that pinnacle, what do you do next? And like Josh said, you can go better. You can go better. So people think there's a ceiling. You break it and you go again.
Yeah.
And whether that means pivoting the business or bringing new people on or expanding or growth, whatever. But then some people are really content with just doing their job and running their business as they are. But that's great too. To keep them motivated is probably doing the good job, getting good reviews and going home.
But I feel like you guys share that mentality of being comfortable in the uncomfortable. And I'll tell you why. Because you guys created a new vertical.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
Like you can see how it transitions, like your sporting career, your entire life journey, all of it, like you guys are similar in character. Do you get what
I
I'm
think
saying?
so. I think we are. We got the similar interests. We got the similar banter, similar upbringing. Him and Luke look very similar. Same heads. I think as well what people say mixed business with friends or family, but so far it's been good in the sense that we know each other really well. So like you mentioned earlier about the pillars and about four of us, it's what's my strengths, maybe Josh's weakness, and what's his weakness, maybe my strength, and same as Nathan and Luke. So we I think we work really well together. And early on we made it pretty clear who does what roles, what responsibilities, where we want to see the company grow and all that type of stuff. So that was early on in the conversation. So we got that out early in the piece, assigned some roles, responsibilities. We hold people accountable. We have some pretty difficult conversations.
That's good.
They need to be done, but
they need to be done. And you know what? As long as we say that as soon as we leave the office.
So can I so to get to know that part. So February this year, you officially hit the ground running, right?
Yeah.
But you conceived the idea and began the planning of the idea in June.
Well, it was
was it July 2020?
No, it was actually going back to what Josh was talking about at the casino. It was probably late 2019. Yep. So if I went through my messages and showed you, like, it was 2019 that we planted the ideas there. There's a bit of a gap there. I'm talking about my experience in real estate, and Nathan and Luke and Josh is talking about construction, and we said there might be an opportunity. But like you said, it's probably the boys were pumped. After that, we sort of we just parked it, right? And then New Year. I mean, Christmas, New Year. We're in 2020. Let's maybe pick up this idea. What happens? COVID hits, right? And then we thought, okay, let's park it again, sort of second time round, until more sort of April, May. And then just doing some research, we sort of saw people needing to sell, people losing their jobs. It was an unfortunate time. Then we sort of reconvened and go, maybe our idea has some legs. Maybe our concept has some legs because A, we're helping people get more money for their sale, which is what they want. But B, we're eliminating the need for them to outlay money, which is another tick, right? So it was sort of June, July, we incorporated the company. We started doing all that stuff. We started doing a lot of market research, looking at, the difference between properties that are on the market, today and not selling compared to the ones that sell within, 3, 4, 5, 6 days and get a premium price. And of course, we're not talking about development sites. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about your normal standard apartment, house, villa, whatever. So
then you got the legalities.
Yeah, you got legalities.
Finance.
We got to partner with companies. We got to partner with the right people. So so say June, July, we incorporated. We spent the next 6 months really getting.
Yeah.
We actually came up with the name pretty quick, which was great. There's a few different ones I can't even remember, but we came up with the name pretty quick, and we thought, you know what, we want something simple. We're not going flash. We're not going something that's out of the ordinary. We're just going to go something very simple, which we went.
Look, I wouldn't say it's been easiest, but I feel like what's made it easier is we're all aligned together. Like 4 blokes firmly believe in this product that we created. And I think that's half the battle. If you truly believe in something and you're truly passionate about something, like that's kind of the core ingredients of making something work. Like you could pitch something to me, and if I could just hint from your voice or you don't really truly believe in it, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to believe in what you're trying to sell.
I believe it. I believe it when you're saying it, because passion is a big thing in your life.
Massive. And that's the biggest thing that I think
if you believe in
helped me play rugby league and make the NRL. Like
because that gives you energy, though. That gives you energy to push through that tough times. Because if you're not passionate about something and you go through tough times, you'll throw the towel in. You'll move
100%.
You'll move on. It's not worth it. It's not worth the headache. But if you're passionate and you know that it's solving something, and you know that you get to do it with your best mates, and you know that you're making a difference in that market that doesn't exist, then you're gonna get through the tough times. Or at midnight when we're sending emails because we're trying to stay on top of all the other stuff that we need to do, you're not going to do that if you didn't really care about your work, right? So
I've been proposed a lot of business ideas, like in my career, but it was the only thing I've truly believed in, truly passionately believed in, because I feel like Renosell, I've always had a joy in fulfillment and helping people. I do a lot of charity work on the side as well, and I feel like Renosell does that. We help people achieve what they want and get their maximum result in their property. And to see their faces and
Mate, I've seen some of the videos of you guys at the auction with the vendors. It's like it blows my mind.
We're on the journey with them.
You actually are. You truly are.
But not even that. That's one thing. But even so, when the client engages us, we really want to be known from the get-go as courteous, professional, on time, educated. We don't want to be you know what I mean? We're so transparent. We want to make sure they're not overcapitalizing, right? So when they have the interaction with us, it's really positive. And if it's not, we ask for feedback. We want to do things right because we want to be here for the long term. And then, and I think when the clients engage us to do the work and we do it, the result that they get at the end is A, so fulfilling for them, but B, the fact that they didn't have to outlay any money. They're not paying us $10,000 to. They're paying us in 90 days or do you know what I mean? So for them, it's it's a win-win. There's no risk.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
we're trying to eliminate the stress. Selling a house is stressful, right? People don't say that, whether we may do it so often we sort of get blinded to it, but people, it's quite a bit. It's a massive investment. People are selling $1 million investment, and it may be, I don't know what the stat is, I haven't looked, but for someone who is only, living in a house for 20 years and selling it, it's their first time doing it in 30 years selling something, so they're scared naturally. So our job is to make it more comforting, make it clear, make it not confusing, and eliminate the risk.
And I guess the other two boys, Nathan and Luke, are phenomenal assets
freaks
to the company.
100%.
in meeting them, their know-how, their
Freaks.
experience in the construction trade.
It's their attention to detail.
Yeah,
My
execution.
wife,
But
Execution.
there's the detail part. But I think you touched on it,
Yeah.
Haas, and you explained overcapitalizing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't overcapitalize,
oh,
and that's super important because
Yeah.
that's the line between profit and no
100%.
profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally.
100%.
So
100%.
trusting, like you guys are so like well balanced
Yeah.
as a company.
I think so.
It's just like it just works. So look, don't get me wrong. A lot of people out there might think they can replicate it. It's not as easy as a lot of people think.
Yeah.
You have the team.
Yeah.
The foundation of your company is built to achieve what you are trying to achieve. So
Yeah, 100%.
like I think like you're onto a winner. You're definitely serving the public. It's phenomenal. But growing up, like, so what I wanted to like sort of know, like obviously, I wanted to know sort of your role models. Like, Hus, you touched on your dad being a role model in the real estate game, right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming with you, Josh, it's the league players that you looked up to.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to understand, like, in terms of building your business and business people and what your role models were in business, who did you guys look up to? Because, there wasn't so much information back in the day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
you rewind 10 years ago, starting your own business was very foreign. It's hard to sort of attach yourself to someone. But did you have a specific role model or who you looked up to in terms of business?
For me personally, I draw inspiration from other companies. I'll drop a few names. Grower from I think they're based in Queensland. They're a developing company.
Okay, yeah.
Future Flip, they're doing massive stuff in terms of developing. So like those kind of guys, I draw inspiration from. I wouldn't necessarily say I look up to those kind of guys. For me personally, I looked up to a lot of high-profile athletes growing up as a kid.
All right.
Even till now, I do.
Awesome.
Michael Jordan's, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mike Tyson, those kind of guys. But in terms of like, kind of like really looking up, it's hard. It's very hard being a business world for me. I don't know.
Mate, I'm the same. I'm the same.
I feel like I just draw like inspiration and like, I feel like
look, it's funny because we have access now to the athletes, those super high profile athletes. Now we have that access, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
10 years ago, there's no access.
100%.
Yeah, it's not,
You know what I
it's a
mean?
good
Like
question.
this is what I'm trying to say. Like, this podcast, what's awesome is, people can see you guys and sort of understand, like why I touched on planning.
Yeah.
Like idea, cool. When you sat down and planned the business, it took you 6 to 7 months.
100%.
Yeah.
It
It went from
overnight.
it didn't happen
research.
overnight.
Like it's not. You guys understood, and the planning is also time. Time is money.
I think
know what I mean?
even I touched on the fact that I'm finishing a degree now, but what is actually one of the subjects that I had to do that sort of give me a kick up the arse, because one of the subjects was managing new business and looking at new business ideas and putting together maps. And so I did my assignments on my business. So I was learning while I was studying and I was putting into practice what we were doing, and I was going back to the boys, and it was real life experience. And that's what I think gave me a sort of kickstart. I was asking my lecturers who are high flyers, like they're giving me advice, me time. They're saying, it's a great idea, go for it. It's got legs, go for it. Do you believe it? Yeah. But I think touching on business mentors or anything like that, I don't think there's one. I think like I said, my dad was my role model, but I remember when I was about 17 or I finished school, and he said to me, when I was working at the sports shop, he said, how about we buy you a sports shop? I'll buy it, and you run a sports shop. I'll buy you a business, your sports shop. Do you want to do it?
Model, man.
And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's a good idea. Obviously it never happened. And then he's like, okay, what? He's
encouraging.
He's been encouraging about business. Like I said, he had a 10-year period in real estate where he was essentially running his own business, but whatever happened. He didn't end up, going any further with it, but he was always encouraging, not just me, my brothers and sisters. It's just about follow your dreams, do what you want to do. But I had that mindset of business, right? But I draw inspiration like Josh, probably from some athletes. I'm talking about Muhammad Ali. I love, today's getting a bit on, but I love Choc Mundine, like growing up, like Anthony Mundine. I just like people who are humble, people who help the people. And that's what I just got mentors that I'd want to sit down and have a chat with, right? Material things come and go.
Huss, can I stop you there? See the two people you mentioned?
Yeah,
Can I just say they spoke things into existence?
exactly.
They made,
Yeah,
I guess if I was to sort of, boil it down,
yeah.
they made the unachievable
For sure.
sound achievable.
And that's just
Those
it, right?
two in
Yeah.
particular, Muhammad Ali
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Chalk Mundine.
Oh,
Like I remember him in league, and then
Oh,
I remember the
freak.
transition to boxing.
freak.
I thought at that stage we all sort of, I don't
yeah,
think so.
yeah.
But mate,
Fit as, man.
the money involved, the business savviness from
That's
Chalk
it.
Mundine.
That's it, yeah.
Look, he doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah,
And his
exactly.
brashness.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to speak things into existence and then get uncomfortable.
But again, and another thing is people see one side of him,
Yeah.
but not the real side of it. Like I
yeah.
met him once or twice. He's just got such a good heart. We'll talk to and that's just the type of, people that I want to associate with. And I just said to myself, if I can just be a good person, the business is a byproduct. So if I can meet clients and just be honest, it's not uncommon for me or Josh to go into a client meeting and they say, oh, I want to do A, B, C, D. I want to spend 60 grand. I say, nah, spend 30. Do not overcap. I can say spend 60, no problem. Spend 100. But it doesn't make sense because the numbers these are numbers, right? So I want to be known as, he was trustworthy. So that's for me is sort of,
That must be a core fundamental.
that's a core fundamental for me. I like people like Steve Jobs, of course, but again, people didn't have nice things to say. I read his autobiography, a tough boss, but just creative. You're not here forever. Just be creative. Do what you enjoy. Hang around people you enjoy. That for me is just probably a bit of a no-brainer.
Let me transition. There's a saying that's stuck in my head and it won't ever leave my head ever again. I have two young little boys and I know I'm going to drill this line into them. Like I'm talking about tattoo it in their brain.
Yeah.
And it's show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Gold.
Wow.
So
Gold.
in saying that line, right?
Gold.
I just want to touch on it because obviously, look, 20 years ago when we're young,
Everyone's your friend.
Everyone's your friend, right? Josh, you're an athlete, bro. You're the cool cat.
Everyone's his friend.
You are the cool cat. You can get tugged left, right, and center. You could have gone.
Tugged?
Like I went to school with some talented athletes, really like amazing athletes that just took the
wrong path,
wrong little one. Like
Yeah.
it's like a little laneway. They just
Yeah.
took that little path, gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So easy to make errors.
Oh yeah.
I just want to know how did you surround yourself? Like, because ultimately, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Your friends are now developing a future together, right? How did you ensure your friends were the right people? And I'm sure you would have let go of a lot along the journey.
A lot. Like I said, I had to make so many sacrifices, and one of them was like spending nights out with my mates, going to their house, just hanging out. I knew they were my mates because I knew they supported me and they understood when I wasn't around. That's how I knew. So for me, that was half the battle. And every time, we always kept in touch, checking up on each other. But you do get a lot of people that, they want to be in your circle, want to hang out with you. But at the end of the day, you got to.
But how do you? Okay, not that someone has a devilish character, but
No.
you have a bloke or a mate that is tempting you to
Go down the
do.
wrong
I'll give
path.
you an example. Just to stay out a little. You got a game tomorrow. Just to stay out. It's a birthday. Come on, it's not that they don't have your best interest.
No, yeah.
But how did you work out? Because to be an athlete and your journey, you must have said no a lot.
Oh.
And you must now, to this day, you must have mastered the one-liner to say, I can't.
Well, that's the thing. When they know I say I can't, they genuinely mean, they understand I cannot be there. They cannot. One of my mates told me this, you can't be everyone's best friend.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You have to tell someone no once in a while. You got to tell your close mate, no, I can't be there. You have to understand. They'll understand. If they're your mate, they will understand. And I think, I think a good saying about why I think I've done so well in playing rugby league is dreams without action are just dreams.
Yes.
If you can dream of playing rugby league, having the massive house, driving the
100%.
fanciest car, but how do you get that?
100%.
What's the path you got to take to actually achieve that? So I honestly believe, like, you know, dreams without sacrifice, dreams without action.
Who were the people that kept, like, you know, you have a support circle, you have an infrastructure, heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, you know, was it family? Was it a couple of handful of mates? Good people? Is it, you know, like, you know, because to get to our age now and to have families, you know, establish something, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's not a lot of luck, but you need it. There's a lot of people that would have been involved in that journey. Is it family? Is it, you know, you mentioned you got married early, was it? Or your girlfriend from early? You know, having a missus from very early on that sort of, you know, what was it? What do you believe?
Yeah, she was my wife, probably the biggest foundation in my life. Like, definitely kept me on the straight and narrow. Always supported me. At a young age, she didn't really fancy rugby league too much, and because of me, she loves the sport now. She loves going to the games. She loves taking my kids to the games. And also, I come from a broken home. Like, I was raised from a single mother. She used to always take me to training, take me to the games, wait for me, just wait for me in the car until I finished.
Wow.
For me, that was
sacrifice. Like,
that's pretty much where I got most of my values from, is from my mum. Like, she really worked hard, sacrifice. Like I drew a lot of strength and inspiration probably from my mum.
It would have been hard growing up.
100%. I grew up in, you know, like in a housing commission, half a terrace. Like, it was, you know, like I didn't really had the fanciest life as a kid growing up.
Did you see the toughness of life in your mum's face?
Oh yeah. Oh, not really, to be honest. She
probably
really
hired it.
She
hit
it. My mum is like someone that she's so grateful for everything she has. Like, she works so hard, but she doesn't see it as working hard. Like, I might say, man, like you must be so tired, but you won't even see it. Like, she's so, I want to take her out of the home she's in, but she'll never leave it.
Wow.
She won't leave it.
Wow.
And she's someone that I really look up to, and I've really lent on for support, like, as a kid growing up. Especially my wife. Like, she really helps me. She understands my routine. She just understands the professional lifestyle I need to have, and the sacrifice that's involved. So having her understand that, it really helps me.
That's amazing, man. And Haas, tell me.
For me, well, like I said, I mean, Nathan and Luke, we've been friends since we were 12. So,
that just mind boggles me, man.
I think we just hit it off really. Nathan's a bit of an awkward cat, so maybe no one wanted to be his mate. I don't know, but look, we've got. So Nathan and I and Luke, we've got a group of friends. When I say group, like, my mum used to always say to me, you can count your true friends on one hand. And I remember being like going through high school, and I'd be like,
yeah, right.
Nah, man, how? I've got like 32 friends, like how, right? But now she's spot on. I can count probably, I can count on one hand my true friends. Right?
Let me ask you, and be real with me.
Yeah.
Went from big group and it shrinks.
Yeah.
There's sometimes intentional shrinkage. Like, you're no longer speaking to that person because of 1, 2, 3, right? And as you age, was a lot of it intentional, or was it a lot just different lives?
Yeah, just different lives, I think. So I got married young. So at 21, when I got married, I had my son at 24.
Wow.
So whereas my friends were still partying at that age, like, so I got married young. So I had a different life. My path was I had a full-time job. My friends were still at uni, so I had a full-time job, had a son. So I had that a lot earlier. So it just went through a different path, right? But like I said, we've got a group now. So if we all catch up once a month, it's like we've never left. So it's a good vibe. But if we're talking about close friends daily, weekly, I've only got 3 or 4 that I speak to that are my core group. The rest we play poker or we see in a month. But it's different. So it's different. My core group would be really tight, really small. The rest maybe acquaintances, friends, things like that. But so going through school, like I said, I've got one friend that literally we've been mates since 6 maybe, or whatever, however old you are in year 3, I don't know, 8 maybe.
Yeah,
So we've got 1 or 2 friends that were that age. So then they're just good friends. But then now all my mates are starting to have kids. My kids are a bit older, so they're starting to have kids. So they're going through, now they're sort of on their different journey, right?
Yeah.
Different stages. That's what I mean. We don't catch up as much, but when we do, we're grateful to have each other. But I think everyone's busy doing their own thing, man. So it is what it is.
Yeah, man. Look, it's a tough one. And look, in business, like you said, sometimes it can get sticky. And the fact that you guys are can have the tough conversation, delegate the roles and responsibilities. That's phenomenal. And look, to be honest with you, it's such a shame that it happens to sometimes when you come across success, when the problems start to occur.
Course,
and that's the most unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
But I guess, you guys sound like sports is always in your brain, obviously. And that's a big thing when in business as well, because if you know how to work as a team,
100%.
you know what I mean?
Well,
It's
not
a
even
big
just the tough
difference.
times too. Like Josh will, that in sport, when they're going through tough times as a team, I'm sure his captain would prep him up. And that's sort of what the managing partner or the CEO does in a business, to say, guys, it's a tough time, but we're going to get through it. There's always next week, or there's always tomorrow. So it's a bit, the sporting analogy is spot on. We've all four of us have played sport. We love sport. And we draw from that experience about the tough time. Yeah, resilience. Tough times don't last, Tough people do. It's pretty cliche, but
No, it's true,
just
man.
the truth, I guess. So yeah, I think that's what we want to, and we like the idea of setting goals, like Josh mentioned. Like he'll set his own goals. So as a company, we like to set goals and say, this is where we want to be. Like one of our goals when we started in February, or before we launched in February, we said that we want to do one property a month. Just for this year, let us do one property a month, and we'll be happy. It's a good achievement. But I think in the last sort of 7 or 8 months that we've been operating, thank God we've 5 times it. So we're about 50 at the moment.
Wow.
So we wanted one a month, and I think we're sort of we're up to 50 in the last 10 months. So we're very thankful.
Look, guys, honestly, I'm blown away with the success you guys have had, and as people, you guys are genuinely honest people, and I feel as though that carries over in business. That has weight.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy for the success you guys have had.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I look forward to seeing, where you guys are in 12 months, because I know being involved with you guys as well, on a marketing level, I see that even 7 months in, you're still willing to keep rolling the dice and evolving.
100%.
Love that style. Well
100%.
done. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for taking the time. Honestly,
Thanks for having
the
us.
audience, a lot of the people that are thinking of doing business or getting into business, I feel as though this is great content for them to see, especially for them to be, something a little bit more relatable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Rather than
sure.
some of the US shows out there.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you guys taking the time to
Thanks for having us,
jump
man.
on the podcast.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
boys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. How good.